Hey bitches! Welcome to a brand new episode or thing of Bitches with Books. I am, of course, Elizabeth, and you'll be noticing that my face is much clearer these days. I've upgraded my system. I don't know what that was. Anyway, this week we're looking at some fantastic nonfiction fare in the form of Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World. And it is by Jack Weatherford. And it is absolutely fantastic and bonkers. And you learn so much that you have never realized that you've taken for granted in the modern world is because of Genghis Khan and the creation of an empire that was triple that of any other civilization. It was ridiculous. It was a massive empire, and most of it was done simply by intimidation. He didn't actually have to physically conquer a whole lot of people. He really just had to do it the first couple times, and then it was just word of mouth from there on out. And then stepping in every so often when people rebelled. But for the most part, really kind of a bloodless takeover of a civilization that was considering a lot of what people think of it as this horrible barbarian horde. It was actually really reasonable, egalitarian society in which most cultural groups, if they acquiesced, didn't give up too much of a fight. They were allowed to keep many of their own rulers. They were allowed to keep their own religion, as long as they paid a tithe, as long as they, recognized that Genghis Khan and the Mongols and his descendants, as it went on in time, were the superior overlords. Really fascinating. They, really were the creators of a universal language, of this massive cultural group, when they themselves, they had no written language. They were just this really fascinating group that they allowed all of this interconnectivity between all of these different cultural groups that really fed modern culture. They basically went all the way up to Europe. They conquered all the way up to Europe and then said, those people suck. We're going to go back to Asia. And it's much better there. It's absolutely fascinating. They had connections with the Pope. They were absolutely, unbelievably, incredibly fascinating people. And they shaped so much of what we think of as modernity 600, 700 years ago. It's absolutely brilliant. It has far-reaching consequences. They are directly just responsible for Taj Mahal because that was built by the Mughals, which were their Indian descendants. It's absolutely fascinating. All of these things that you never knew. They are responsible for the Great Wall, because it was built to keep the Mongols out, but they still conquered most of China anyway. They're absolutely a fascinating people. It is a breeze to read. It is just so easy to read. This guy has such a firm understanding of what makes it easy for history to be read by people. Besides the fact of it just being interesting information, it is just a fun read. I breezed through this, the first time I ever read it, I breezed through this probably in a day and a half. I just sat down with a cup of tea and I didn't get up for 4 hours. It is beyond well researched. It is just a super fun read. I can't recommend it more. If you are interested at all in Asian history, in ancient history, in world history, I would firmly suggest that you read Genghis Khan, The Making of the Modern World, because it is absolutely incredible. You learn so much that you never learned in school, and you can then rub it in people's faces when you go to high school reunions, or, when you want to join a trivia club or something. I don't know what people do. I read books. All right. But yeah, no, it's great. If you're interested at all in more information about the Mongols, I would highly suggest Crash Course, which was done by the Blog Brothers. Their world history, which is their world history subject videos were absolutely fascinating. They talked about the Mongols a lot because they are always the exception to all of the rules, because they are absolutely amazing. So again, please read Genghis Khan and The Making of the Modern World by Jack Weatherford. Absolutely brilliant. Can't recommend it enough. Enough. All right. Love y'alls. In the meantime, bitches, keep your books open and that bitch face on.